what's up? Tone. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're gonna be doing a full face tutorial. I'm using a bunch of new products here today. We're making mauves today. Making major mauves. This is the new Colourpop, one of their new monochromatic palettes. They have a ton of different monochromatic palettes. Actually, each one that comes out, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that there was another color that we could be talking about, but there is. I love the Dose of Colors mauve eyeshadow palette. It was one of my staples for like a year. When they came out with a mauve palette, I said, oh, let me try that out. So that's what I'm wearing today. We're gonna be using this palette, talking about some of the shades in here, how we feel about it. But yeah, we're just gonna be doing a good old fashioned full face look today. Today's video is sponsored by Makeup Forever. I'm gonna be featuring the Reboot Foundation, which I've talked about to you guys before. Really love this foundation, it's beautiful. That is what we're gonna be doing in today's video, you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. I really wanna dig into mauve territory. I think I'm gonna do Big Moves, Big Fig, and Marquee. This is Big Moves, and I'm throwing this on with a MAC 217. Kind of want to buff it up all the way into the brow. And I definitely want to do a shimmer today. Normally, I stick, you know, with my matte friends, but I'm gonna take it there today, you guys. This shade, I already like. I'm definitely happy with it. It goes on with a mauve tone. Sometimes when you buff out mauve shades, they can either end up really pink or way too purpley, but I feel like this one definitely is true to color. Turb is just in the background shaking for no reason. No reason whatsoever. Okay, next I'm gonna go in with Big Fig. That is this shade right here, kind of the medium tone mauve merriment. And I definitely want to raise my crease, so I'm gonna take it up a little bit higher than my actual crease and start buffing it in. Do you think I should cut my crease today? I kind of want to. So now I found this tiny, teeny little brush. This is a Smith 305. This might actually be one of their lip brushes, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna take some concealer. And in the inner corner, I definitely like to make the inner corner bigger. When I cut the crease, it kind of helps to lift the eye a bit more. And then just slightly pulling it down here. How do you guys feel about the Colourpop like monochromatic palette launches? Are you still waiting for more tones? I'm kind of like, what else do they have left? How many more colors can they launch? Because what was the last one they did? Mint, I think. I actually did like that one. The only thing is, like with Mint, it's kind of like how many different looks can you do, you know? Like for me, when I do greens, like greens or blues, I've noticed, it looks best when I just wear one shade. Like not when I do a lot of crease cutting or a lot of different tones, like of blue or green. It tends to look better when I just do one. So that's the only like interesting part. Like, I mean, obviously a lot of people can pull it off, but for me, I just feel like it doesn't really look that good anymore. So when I do a blue or green, I like to wear just a single color and kind of blend it all over the eye, kind of like, you know, more of a monochromatic look. So, but I definitely like mauve. I did actually like the pink palette as well. All right, which one do I want to use? Let's see, we've got mauve on top. Ooh, I like that one. Bi-coastal. It's got to be a full-time job for whoever's at Colourpop to name all these colors because there are so freaking many. I actually like mauve on top the best. Maybe I'll use a little bit of a la mode, the middle one on the outer corner, but I feel like it's really, really pink to put all over the lid. So I'm gonna use that same brush just to get right up into the crease area. I think I need a synthetic brush. Ooh. And if you want to add a little bit more definition to the crease, because it can float around a little bit, using a tiny brush, I'm going to use Big Fig and just a dash of Marquee. And then you just want to trace right on top of the crease. And this will just help to add a little bit of definition and break it up from the shimmer. I've also seen a lot of people do this with like the Urban Decay Metal Liner, which I think is really pretty, but that might be like a little bit too much shimmer for me, what I have going on right now. I am definitely a fan of this palette. This one has a lot of good tones in here. They're very true to color. I'm loving this metallic shade on the lid. And as I'm blending it all out, it's definitely staying mauve, which is something that I really like, and I wish I could get this off. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna do some tight lining on my lash line. I wanna add a bit of liner, but I really like how this metallic shade is looking, so I don't wanna add too much and cover it all up. What color is this? This is the Laura Mercier Smoke Caviar Eye Stick. I need to like stock up on more of these because if they discontinue these, I'm gonna be very, very upset. But I need to get another tuxedo one because it's like seriously one of the best, easiest ways to apply a smudge liner. Definitely still a favorite of mine. So this is Smoke, which is like kind of a dark, smoky gray. And I'm applying this with a flat liner brush. This is just giving me kind of a subtle liner look. It's definitely gonna help to define the eyes a bit. All right, I went ahead and put some mascara on, but as you guys can see, the liner is very, very subtle. I'm into a subtle liner moment right now. Well, I'm always into a subtle liner in a moment, but especially with this eye look, I kind of like how it kind of fades off into like a teardrop shape. The lashes I'm gonna use today, these are a newer style from Baddie B, and this is called Baby Doll. And I don't know if you guys have seen these yet, but these are the synthetic ones. So the not so great thing about synthetic lashes is they are a little bit more shiny, like they look a little bit more synthetic. So it's really just in flash photos that you really notice how it's a little bit more shiny. Especially if they're wispy, a little bit thinner like this, you're not really gonna notice as much. If they're a thicker, chunky lash, you're definitely gonna notice it more, but aren't these cute? These are definitely a shorter in length style than what I normally wear, but I love them. I think they're so pretty. I like that you can still see the lid color through the lash. So this is one of my current like go-to styles right now. And synthetic ones, I definitely try to pinch them as close as possible to my natural lash line. It's like a baby doll. It's like a baby doll eye. It really lifts open the eye. Nice and wispy. It's looking cute. That's all I'm gonna say. It's looking really cute. I'm excited to do the lower lash line. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more smoke than what I normally do. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to complexion. And today's video is sponsored by Makeup Forever to highlight their new Reboot Foundation. This is an amazing light to medium coverage product. It brightens, smooths, firms, hydrates, and evens out your complexion. If you want a lighter coverage, you can get a lighter coverage. If you want to build it up, you can definitely build it up. It blends into the skin beautifully, but even if you do build up the coverage, it still looks like your skin. It's not gonna look like a heavily caked on product. So it comes in 24 shades and they're $39 each. So I'm gonna leave some more details about this product in the description box down below. And this particular color is also such a great match for me, which is fantastic. So for the past few weeks, I've definitely not been doing like heavy coverage on my face, letting my skin breathe a little bit more. And this foundation is great for that. So the shade that I'm using is shade Y244, and I'm gonna be applying it with their Kabuki brush. This is the 112 wavy brush. What I learned in their masterclass is to really work the foundation into the brush. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm gonna start buffing it in. I already primed and prepped the skin, but as you can see, it's a very lightweight product, but it's really working into the skin and evening out my complexion. I'm just doing my initial layer here and kind of buffing it in, really getting it in there. Just kind of looking this side of my face versus this side, it still looks like my face. Like you can still see my skin, and this is just with one layer, kind of a lighter coverage. It looks like my skin, but it looks, you know, better. So over here, I've got some red marks, so I'm just gonna tap in a little bit more foundation to build up the coverage here. I went and got a facial last week, so I've been kind of doing like a new skincare. I'm basically in like a skincare boot camp right now. January, February, like my skin was really doing some interesting things, so I've just been trying to like be patient, learn what my skin wants. But anyway, last week I got a facial and I got like literally an hour of extractions is what I got. And I mean, my face, I used to have a lot more little clogged pores, and I feel like so many of them are gone and it feels amazing. Like washing my face is definitely way smoother. So it's been a good experience so far. I'll keep you guys updated on how that's going. I started seeing an esthetician instead of a dermatologist because I feel like the dermatologist was just giving me like prescription medications that I don't want to take. So, I mean, I actually stopped seeing a dermatologist a couple years ago when I stopped taking spironolactone, but I haven't really like figured out what I wanted to do in the meantime. So I started seeing an esthetician, and I feel like my skin is already seeing some really great changes. Texture is way better right now. I've still got some hyperpigmentation going on, but you know, it's easily covered with a light layer of foundation. So I feel like in the next month, my skin will be even better. So I'm really excited about that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do concealer. And I do have the new Beauty Blender concealers here. These are pretty full coverage. So you do not need a lot of product. And I'm gonna see what shade I need today. I have been using 3.15C, which is medium beige. You can kind of see the color difference here. I've got 4 different shades here. I was surprised that I was in the medium category. I for sure thought I was gonna be in light, but light is pretty bright. If I had to pick between Shape Tape and Beauty Blender, I don't know. I would say Shape Tape is a little bit less cakey than this one. This one's not cakey, but it is a little bit heavier on the under eyes. This is 3.10C shade medium buff. I did notice that this one slightly on the under eyes built up a little bit more than the Shape Tape did. So I'm just gonna take a little bit here and a little bit here. I do love the applicator on this one though. It's kind of shaped like a Beauty Blender, which is kind of cool, but this stuff has got some coverage. If you guys are looking for coverage, you're gonna get some coverage with this. So this is a newer product. And then also I did wanna try this as well, or these. I have to hurry up and talk about this. The new Colourpop sponges. This is the full Beat collection of blending sponges. And I was immediately drawn to this velvet one. They get really, this is one of those sponges that gets really big when you wet it, but it has a velvety texture to it, kind of like microfibery, which reminded me of the Blendiful. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I think these exist already, right? I don't think I've used one before, like a velvet sponge. I already wish this one was smaller. Full disclosure, really hard to get into the inner corner area. So I wet this one. This is the velvet one, and this is the other one. This is, I think, called the detail one. So let me get in here. Kind of buff this out. So this is medium concealer. You see how bright it is? Anyway, I wanted to try this velvet one because the Blendiful kind of has that microfiber texture to it. I love using the Blendiful for my concealer. Like, I love it. I use it all the time. The only thing is, for some reason, I'm not as inclined to wash it as often as I am with a beauty blender or like a beauty sponge. I think just because you have to do the drying process, like I don't do it as often. I bought 2 more Blendifuls because I just really liked the way it applied my blush and how it buffed out my concealer, but that's the only drawback for me. It's not like difficult to wash. It's just got like one more step than washing a sponge. So when all of mine are dirty, I end up going a while until I end up using it again. So that's why I was pretty eager to try this one. This is the velvet one. You can kind of see the fibers on here a little bit better now that there's makeup on it. The only thing is these get so huge. Like even for foundation, this is pretty big, don't you think? Okay, so now I'm using the detail one for down my nose. So now I'm gonna set the under eyes and use this sponge. I'm sad, I want this one to be smaller and this shape. I want the velvet sponge in this shape, but smaller. So that way I could use it, please and thank you. Because I love the point. This one reminds me of the Dose of Color sponge, which I do really love as well. They came out with another sponge, which I need to test. It's like sponge season right now. This is the Pat McGrath setting powder, still loving this one. The shade Light Medium 1. And I'm gonna be setting, I'm not gonna go all the way up to the under eye because I wanna do shadow there. So just to about right there for the powder. And I'm gonna do some cream bronzer. I did get a new bronzer. This is one of the Revlon Skin Lights. I wanted Prismatic highlighter from Revlon, so I picked that up and saw that they have bronzers as well. So I'm gonna try this out, but I do wanna do a little bit of my cream bronzer first. This one is from Milk. This is their matte bronzer in the shade Baked. Like, I feel like I have to do a cream bronzer before I do a powder. Like, it's just part of my process now. I have been wanting to try out more Milk products as well. I feel like they have a really interesting like product assortment, and I like all the sticks that they have and everything. So I'm just gonna apply some of this, kind of start to warm up the skin a bit more before I do the powder. And then kind of bring it down the jawline. Ooh, I love when we start adding structure to the face. It really gives me hope. Let me do my blush. So I feel like blush is finally starting to get the recognition that it deserves this year. A lot of brands have come out with new blushes this year, and I'm like ready for a full takeover. Who else? Oh, Fenty came out with blushes as well. I'm gonna be using the new Persona Cosmetics blush. So I have the shade Carmel and Georgia. Now I know Carmel like really goes with the tones, but I feel like it might just be too matchy-matchy. So I'm gonna go with Georgia because I feel like that will be For this look, I feel like this will look better on the cheeks. And I believe that Sona said these blushes have like a matte but not flat finish. Very, very fine pearls in here, which I'm a huge fan of. I am gonna use a synthetic brush today. I don't know why, it just feels right. I don't think I've ever used a brush besides this one, but this one is starting to get a little bit scratchy. So I'm gonna use this synthetic brush. This is from It Cosmetics, their Airbrush Flawless Complexion. I think because I've been loving how the Blendiful applies my liquid blush that I was like, you know what, let me try this. Let me do a little bit on the back of my hand so I don't apply too much. But so that way, you know, maybe it'll have a similar finish if I apply it with a synthetic brush. Oh, okay, I put on a lot. I put on a lot, but it's okay, not to worry. I've been here before. It doesn't look like a lot on camera, but it looks like a lot. This side is killing it. This side I put a little bit too much on. So what I'm gonna do, because I totally can, is take my Kabuki brush from Makeup Forever with a tiny bit of foundation on it, not a lot. We're not trying to get like full coverage here, just a little bit of a cover up moment. Just lightly buff that on. And it's like it never happened. I feel like a lot of people are really afraid of blush. And I think once you start messing with it and kind of figuring out where you want to put it on your cheeks, you're just gonna be like totally addicted. So I've been putting it up way higher ever since the Makeup Forever masterclass, and I'm loving it. I definitely do feel like it gives a more youthful look than having like the brightness all the way down to here from the concealer. Just adding a little bit of blush right there. This is a beautiful color. It went on really nicely. I know I put too much on that side, but I was using a different brush. I wasn't looking in the mirror. My mistake. And now I'm gonna be applying this highlight. This is the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Highlighter. This is in 201 Daybreak Glimmer. This is my Smashbox Fan Brush. Ooh. Oh, this is really pretty. Not chunky at all. Loving that. A little bit here. So I'm kind of sweeping it a little bit all over the cheeks. It definitely has like a nice glossy look on the face. And I think once I put some setting spray or some spray on top of it, it'll look even prettier. I'm gonna try their the Revlon Skin Lights bronzer. Now, I'm not a huge like baked bronzer kind of person, but I'm gonna give it a shot. This is shade 115. This is kind of a swatch of it here. It looks like it has a little bit of a sheen to it, which I think will be nice on the skin right now. It's such a rainy, gloomy day, so you're not gonna see like my highlights pop in here, but it's fine. The sun will come out soon. So I'm gonna be using this as a Japanese brush to apply this. And this is on top of that Milk Cream bronzer that I already applied. This is a pretty fluffy brush, but I'm starting more so on the outside edge and then bringing it in. Oh, this is actually really nice. Oh, normally I'm not like crazy over baked bronzers, but this one looks pretty good. I didn't wear makeup for a really long time, so now when I put makeup on, I'm like, yes, yes. What do I need now? Oh, lower lash line. Let's finish that up. So I'm gonna start with the waterline, and with mauve, I thought this color would be really pretty. This is the Marc Jacobs Fineliner Ultra Skinny Gel Liner in the color Dove Affair. So it's kind of like a mauve-y gray, which I thought would be pretty. I also have like an actual, like a deeper gray. If I want it to be darker, I can do that. This one's from Makeup Forever. I think this one might be a little bit too, yeah, it's a little bit too light, which is a bummer. Okay, so I'm gonna use the Makeup Forever. This is their Aqua XL eye pencil. Wow, somebody needs to sharpen this. Like, what is this? This is their Aqua eye pencil in the shade M14. Oh yeah. That looks good. I love gray with mauve. I think it's really pretty. Every time I do this and I just like smudge pencil in my waterline, I think about how fun it's gonna be to get out. I'm like, okay, cool. I know this is gonna probably be coming out of my eyes for like the next 2 days. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm gonna start with the darkest shade, Marquis. So now I'm gonna take Big Fig, which is what I used in the crease color, and start to press that in and buff it out. All right, so we're nice and smudgy. And what I like to do is take kind of a big brush. I mean, for the lower lash line, this is a big brush. And then with the first shade that I use, which is Big Moves, I'm gonna buff that into this area here, just to make it nice and like pretty smoky. And then if you do like too much, there's a little bit too much right here, just take the sponge and kind of buff it out. Let me finish it up with some mascara here. We'll see how this turns out. I've got a little bit more of a plum liner than what I normally use. This is Sugar Plum, or Satin Plum, I'm sorry, from LA Girl. This is their pencil. I really love their lip liners. If you guys are looking to like stock up on some more affordable options, they're great. All right, now lipstick. I kind of just buffed it out a little bit with my, oh, every time I close my eyes, I get excited. With my finger, the lip liner. I'm gonna be using one of the new Smashbox Cosmetics. This is their Always On Cream to Matte Lipstick. It's a bullet lipstick, but it kind of wears like a liquid matte without being drying, so that's pretty exciting. And I'm gonna use the shade Not Today. Not Today. That's kind of how I'm feeling a lot about 2020 right now. I'm just like, what is going on this year? Oh, Mike's crying. She wants to come see me. All right, you guys, so that wraps up today's look. What do you think about the lip? Isn't it so pretty? Anyway, you guys, so that wraps up today's makeup look. Some of the new products that I used, I really like. I already told you about the sponge. I like the velvet sponge. It's just a little bit big. I wish it had the pointy shape, but this one was great. The detail sponge from Colourpop. I've used the Beauty Blender concealer several times and I like it a lot. It's definitely a fuller coverage. I definitely liked how this palette turned out. The one thing that I was concerned about is maybe that when you actually apply some of the mauves, they don't blend out to a mauve tone. But I would say this eyeshadow could not be more mauve. It's literally right in between purple and pink. The colors were very true to color. They blended out really beautifully. There's also some more of like, you can do like a more neutral moment, like a little bit less mauve-y, still in the mauve family, but not quite as purple. If you like the Dose of Colors mauve palette, I think this is something that you might like as well. These also impressed me as well. So the Revlon Skin Lights, the highlight is beautiful for sure. Definitely more of like a glossy kind of wet look to the skin. And also the bronzer. I'm gonna keep using the bronzer. I use shade 115. I'm gonna keep using this one because I thought it has a really nice finish to the skin. I liked how it added a little bit more life rather than being a matte bronzer. So I was a fan of this one as well. And the Persona blush I thought was really pretty. I also think I'm gonna love these blushes with like a very nude. If you end up doing a full nude look on the face and then you have that pop of like either peach or mauve with the blush, I think that would be really beautiful. Those are some of my thoughts on the products. Let me know if you guys had any other questions in the comments down below about any of the products in particular. That wraps up today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and thank you so much for watching.